We need to get started here. The ghost of Howard is sitting here prodding me. So we'll start out with a roll call, please.
Certainly. Delaware County, Jack Early.
Present.
Lou Jones.
Yes, sir.
Pat Delameter.
Here.
Maggie Wilson.
Here.
Gold Star for Delaware County. Fulton County, Yvonne Hart is excused. She has teaching a class today. Jack Farquhar.
Here.
Jill Dunham.
She had to leave to take her dog to the vet.
Oh, okay. Chris Georgia.
I'm here.
Chris Georgia.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Hamilton County, Joyce Malidi.
Here.
Myself, present. Gary Wicks.
Here.
Montgomery County, Tom Pasquarelli. Vicki Schwartz.
Here.
Trish Green.
Here.
Tony Agresta.
Here.
The Gold Star. Otsego County, Sid Chase.
Here.
Ryan Knapp excused. Dr. Markowitz.
Here.
Dana Wygand excused. Rich Kirschman.
Here.
Gary County, Andy Cuccinello.
Here.
Ed Brand excused. Bill Beavers.
Here.
Mark Zeke.
Present and reasonably accountable.
And Dr. Leinhardt.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir, and then some. We have enough quorum for 2 meetings.
Very good. Welcome on up.
Okay.
Before we go to correspondence, I'm just going to do guests.
Oh, yeah, okay. Our guests today, we have a number of guests today. We have Joe and Mary from the other side of the fence. We have Howard Youth and Deb Cuss. And we have Country Sweet from JVAC. We have Beth McGowan and Desi Kurtzman from CMC. Did I leave anybody out? Oh, Dean Romano. Did I mention his name? That is a Freudian slip. I'm sorry. Welcome one and all.
Okay. Yes, again, I hope everyone had a good summer. Now we got to get back to business here. So, correspondence. Everyone get a copy of correspondence?
We have to do the minutes.
I'm too fast here for Phil this morning. We have to have approval of our minutes from our last month's meeting. Need a motion to approve? Motion made. Second. Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes of our last month's meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed or abstained? Okay. Now, that's it. Now we have some correspondence. Looks like a lot of correspondence.
Yeah, imagine how much money the post office lost with all this correspondence by email.
I don't have a report right now. I will go right on in the secretary's report.
Okay. On January 24th, we received word of an AED used by the Walton Police Department. The patient was a 59-year-old male who unfortunately did not respond to the resuscitative efforts. On July the 18th, we had a lengthy conversation with Mike Taylor of the Department of Health on the subject of regionalization of electronic PCR input. On August 25th, we participated in a training webinar with him and an officer of the Cherry Valley Agency for further familiarization with the State Bridge software. More about that in a few minutes. The State Bridge software is very sophisticated, and we are all feeling our way cautiously along the bridge. On September the 6th, beta testing of the new Android format protocols app was begun. Some discrepancies have been noted, and they're relayed to the app provider who is out in California. Testing is continuing with a view to prompt availability. If I misunderstood him, so be it, but I believe he said in about 30 days they want to have this thing up and rolling. It'll be a free app, and it's shaping up to be a real nice piece of software. On September 17th, we received an email from Mike Taylor noting that the ePCR software provider EMS Charts was going to continue providing their product even though they had been taken over by another firm. Their new parent firm, Golden Hour, either Software Systems or Data Systems, I forget which, is permitting this continuation, although we've been advised earlier that the EMS Charts product would be canceled. A conference call was arranged at noon on yesterday by Mike Taylor. All the regions were represented on short notice, very short notice, about an hour's notice. The call was mainly to assure that all the regions were aware of this new development. In other words, EMS Charts is going to continue providing their software product, and we're going to continue standing behind it, providing support for it. 4 agencies in our region are listed as currently using EMS Charts: Delhi, Inlet, Lawrence, and Pittsfield. We are advised that all the agencies have been notified by the software provider of this news, so those agencies in our region know about it. Notice of enforcement action has been received. 2 violations noticed, one from Fulton, New York, not Fulton County, but Fulton, New York, and another one from the Colling Medical Transport, which is, as the name implies, a medical transport agency from Brooklyn, New York. They have a violation of the public health law. They were suspended for 3 years. Suspension stayed in the civil penalty of $8,000. Effective the 25th of August, this past 25th of August, all future notices of enforcement action are being forwarded to us via email instead of U.S. Postal Service, as per the Department of Health notice. And that, sir, is my report.
Very good. Move on to the treasurer's report.
Okay. A printed report of the cash flow and balance sheet was distributed to all the members, and in addition, Lou and Sid, Tom, and Jack Farquhar first received a detailed cash flow balance sheet and register reports, plus copies of the canceled checks as per the review arrangements agreed on by our auditors. And their report is?
You found everything we said.
Okay, fine.
On July the 9th, we voted to Lisa DeLong at the Department of Health for program agency deliverables and a voucher in the amount of $49,256.99 for the period April 1 through June 30th. At the same time, we forwarded council deliverables for the same period with a voucher of $1109.16. On July 24th, we received a check from DOH for $50,366.15 as payment in full for both vouchers. That was 3 weeks. Yeah, how about that? A little less than 3 weeks. On July 30th, we received a check from DOH in the amount of $950 as payment for the certified instructor update held on June the 7th in Cobleskill. Our voucher had been sent in to them on June 13th. On August 15th, we received a second check in the amount of $950 from them. I notified Lee Burns and advised that it would be returned by certified mail, and it was returned to Tom B. Hanna's attention, that's Lee's assistant, at his request, and he is handling it. Obviously, from not paying us at all, they've come to paying us twice what we asked. So I got a chuckle out of it. I don't know if everybody at the DOH got a chuckle out of it, but I did. And that, sir, is my report.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions regarding the treasurer's report? We need a motion to approve. Motion made, Jack. Second. Good. Motion second. Made and seconded to approve. All those in favor? Any opposed or abstained?
Jason and I will abstain as staff members.
Okay. We're on committee reports. Anything on program agency?
I don't have anything to report. I defer to my peer, Mr. Z, who's going to give us a report shortly on everything. Everything.
Close. Okay, how about training? Yeah.
Training, we have the CLI course scheduled for next weekend, right here, next Saturday and Sunday. The deadline for registrations and application submission is Saturday. So far, I have one complete. We have, at this point, I have a list of around 18 people that had asked about it, but I have not received completed applications, or from most of them, nothing so far.
Joyce, you'll get 4 from me.
Huh?
I have 4 for you that you'll get probably tomorrow.
That's 22.
Mohawk supposedly has 3. They added a new name.
Okay. But we're up to about 60 now, Howard. Anyway,
Well, Pat, you're in this with us.
Deadlines for CLI and CIC are honored in the breach rather than the observance.
anyway, if we only accept those people who register by the deadline, we'll probably have 2 maybe. But we'll see what happens. I'm hopeful that we'll at least have around 17, 18, something like that. 15 would be fine with me. Anyway, so that's the CLI. If anybody knows of anybody planning to apply, please tell them to do so and get their paperwork in. And now the other thing is, you all probably should have gotten by email, and we sent these to also previous attendees of the at the teaching days. This year's teaching day, Saturday, November 1st. And for want of a better name, I called it Worst Case Scenarios. And it's clandestine drug labs and EMS active shooter response, 2 3-hour programs. There's flyers there. There's 100 of them, so take them. And if you know of anybody that wants to attend, have them get their registrations in. I was very doubtful up until a couple weeks ago that this was going to go off as far as the EMS active shooter, because I had been in contact with the state police and not one of their instructors could do it. So I had nowhere to go. So I contacted the people who are active on the training committee and they help us out. And Deb Cuffs came up with Guy Gioli, and he has agreed to do it. So
He has excellent credentials,
yeah.
also, as you'll notice from the flyer.
so anyway, both of the instructors have fantastic credentials. So I'm very hopeful that this will go well.
We have 6 registered to date. 6 people registered to date.
It's more than the CLI.
I expected that.
We just sent it to.
Excellent. Excellent. No, I think we'll have it from the folks who have called up and expressed interest in this. I think we'll have a pretty good turnout for the teaching.
Well, if you remember last year, we had meeting on the third Thursday of October, and had 5 registrations, and it was due to be on the first Saturday in November. And by the time we got to the first Saturday in November, we had about 50 people. That's EMS for you. I think that's it.
Can I just mention again that the apps testing is going forward, the beta testing for the Android app. You're going to like it when it becomes available. I think it's going to be very, very user-friendly. It's already user-friendly, there's a few little glitches in it, but the miracle, I think, is that any of this stuff can be submitted or can be reduced to software and made available. It will be available for downloading in the near future. And again, I believe that the developer wants to have it available within 30 days if possible.
Okay, thank you. Transportation standards?
Okay, just a quick update from Transportation Standards. On June the 20th, we forwarded a copy of the roll call vote in the matter of the Cobbleskeel Rescue Squad clarification of operating territory to Lee Burns, Dan Clayton, and Dana Jonas at the Department of Health. On June 24th at 2:20, we were advised by email by Dan Clayton that the Department of Health concurred with our decision. That was at 2:20. At 2:36 p.m. the same day, he advised that the Department of Health could not concur until they had received and reviewed all the Cobbleskeel paperwork that had been submitted to us. That material was scanned and sent to them on June 26th, and we've heard nothing since then.
They're still reading it.
Well, that's my report, sir.
All righty, you're up, State Council.
State Council, okay. First, I want to draw your attention to the community paramedicine tag report that I gave to you as a separate item. I'm not going to go through it. I think it's very self-explanatory, and I think it's also very good. And it's going to be, I think, the coming thing as part of our practice in New York. And it's already, I don't want to say common practice, but it's a new practice around the country in different states. So please take some time to read that. Back to my State Council report. I'm delighted to report that the blood regulations are published in the State Register. The comment period ends the end of this month, I think another week or so. Lee Burns yesterday sent out a letter that we would like to get to the REMAC docs, providing some supportive, I hope supportive comments to using blood in transfer.
I sent that out to everybody yesterday by email.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah. So I have it here. I don't know if Gus has seen it, so I
I have a
can
copy
get it up.
too, if
Okay.
anyone wants it.
Anyway, as part of the original committee that met about this 7 long years ago at the Wadsworth Labs, I'm delighted that this has finally come to
Has it
fruition
taken up?
at the insistence of Dr. Funk and a number of other people. So we soon should be able to utilize blood while we're transferring patients. And Dr. Daly, for one, is quite delighted.
I have a question, a couple of questions on that maybe should clarify. As it is right now, when we go down to our lab and give blood, we're going to do a transfusion. We pick up the blood, we identify it with the lab tech, and then when we get up to the emergency department, we go through the whole procedure all over again with another nurse.
Right.
Now, when you're all done with that blood, the bag and everything has to be returned to the lab with the paperwork. So if you do that and send it with an ambulance, what are they going to do with that empty?
They're going to bring it back to you.
They're going to bring it back to you.
Yeah.
That's going to be kind of difficult for a lot
Well,
of
we have to bring
agencies.
pumps back all the time, so.
Yeah,
really
but I mean, they'll bring them back the same day.
Yeah, we could probably do that. There's going to be a whole list of requirements. I think if you read the letter.
Yeah, I read through it, and that wasn't completely clear to me on that.
Yeah. Well, I think there will be some education. The department is dusting off their education piece and their policy, a lot of which was written in anticipation of this.
Yeah.
So I think there will be more information once it's through the comment period, and it becomes, I think it's 60 days after that it becomes effective.
What took you so long?
I didn't realize it
It
was
was
7
in the
years.
Governor's Office of Regulatory Reform where it kind of moldered on somebody's desk, I think.
I believe it.
So it finally, I mean, we put up quite a stink at the last SEMSCO meeting, and maybe that got conveyed. So, Ebola is in the news, as you all know, and FIDNY has put out an Ebola advisory, which I've attached to your report, which I think you should read and take back to your services and your counties. I just want to touch on briefly concern that was expressed by Dr. Daly and other physicians about not receiving EMS data on a patient from EPCRs in a timely manner. We actually, CMAQ passed a motion, excuse me, reiterating the necessity to comply with policy 1203, okay? Which, if you want to be in the EPCR program, you need to make some provision for either dropping a hard copy or some electronic equivalent before you leave the hospital, okay? There's some controversy about that, and I won't get into that, but I just want everybody to know that that's an important issue. Let's see, I brought up the therapeutic hypothermia before. There was a long discussion and a prepared statement about spinal immobilization at medical standards and at CMAQ, and they adopted that in concept, which was to stop using longboards to immobilize people because they can actually cause harm, and to use and think about longboards more as an extrication tool rather than an immobilization tool, and that it's okay to put people on a padded stretcher and have them either supine or sitting up with a collar on, and nurses and ED staff are not to criticize, complain, penalize, whatever, those providers who do that. Now, that is not policy at the moment, okay? But a number of other states have already outlawed longboards, so just be aware of that. I'm sorry. Then they created a technical advisory group to look into that as part of CMAQ, and they're going to get somebody from the trauma committee as well to sit on that. So that will be an ongoing thing that you'll hear more about. Nassau County made a request to the Bureau apparently to modify the controlled substance requirement. There's quite a bit of concern about that. I was emailed quickly by Lee asking for copies of the report that I had made, which I rapidly sent to her. and which I think she took to the commissioner. I guess I talked about controlled substances a little further on, and I guess I would ask Mary if she could give her very nice report that she gave at CMAC or SEMSCO about where we are with agencies going to controlled substances.
We have about 1/3 of the agencies that were originally non-CS licensed when we started this last October with licenses. The scary part is there's less than 6 months to go, and 2/3 have not yet complied. We've had a lot of questions. Seems to be the biggest problem that most agencies are encountering is getting a hospital to sign on as their pharmacy.
That's a big problem.
When we've identified it, actually I hate to say it, but John Morrissey has gotten very good at dealing with hospitals. In fact, I volunteered him to Gus. John's actually been going around to hospitals trying to get buy-in. We've had several one-day drive-in CS approval clinics.
Mary's done some very good work.
The folks
in
in
the
travel probably hate me right about now because I have been all over the state. It's in here. Nassau County is still fighting, getting controlled substances. They send executive correspondence, and there they are trying to arrange so that they can be exempt from it and just have agreements, which is what was said, which Mike Daly and the CMAC advised against from day one. That is up in the commissioner governor's hands. We are still telling everyone that this is the requirement, and we're waiting to see. Now, it is interesting to note that if an agency opts to drop down to the ALS level,
AEMT.
no, hear me out. If a critical care, they'll be so quick to, if an agency is a critical care paramedic, they have to carry narcotics. If they still want to be an ALS level service, they can drop to the ALS level, which was formerly known as intermediate, and they are exempt at that level from carrying narcotics. But because that is an original class, they will have to send their members through the ALS class. It's not a guaranteed drop down. Okay? If an agency is opting to drop down either to an ALS level or to the basic EMT level, they have to notify their REMAC of their choice, because their REMAC is the one who notifies the state of any change in agency service provision.
Now, if they drop down to the intermediate level,
There is no more intermediate level as of June
to the
15. Yeah, the level formerly known.
Yeah.
It sounds like a bad rock band.
Are they going to be able to continue carrying the medications on board that they carry right now?
There are different medications that the ALS
Intermediate.
level, the AEMT level is allowed to carry.
Right.
Basically, it's first line drugs.
Mhm.
They will not have the full critical care scope of. And again, you have to wait and see what protocols are approved. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but I can't give an honest answer because there's no protocols put out yet for the AEMT level.
Yeah. I was trying to find out on the website. Couldn't find it.
Yeah. You'll have to carry whatever the AEMT protocol allows you to carry, but until your region adopts an AEMT protocol, it's like how many different ways can you say you're in limbo? I mean, I don't know how else to put it, and I'm being honest with it.
With my agency, I've talked to the pharmacy in Walton, and I've talked to the pharmacist up in O'Connor Hospital, which is the closest hospital to us. But then from there, I would end up having to go over to Fox or go to Bassett to find a hospital pharmacist that would accept us. And, you know, then you're looking at a 30-mile to a 50-mile drive just to get to the pharmacist, just to exchange medications and stuff like that. That's quite a bit inconvenient.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you that I have some rural agencies that we've approved that actually have kidney drugs being their supplier. Kidney drugs.
Really?
Yeah.
24-hour CVS?
You know, if there's a way to make it work, I mean, we're open to anything. You know, as long as all the safeguards are in place.
What I'm hoping right now is our hospital just is opening up a retail pharmacy. So once they get that on board, I'm going to go back and start plugging them.
If it's a particular pharmacy or a chain of hospital pharmacies, let us know, and sometimes we can help intervene. That's been very successful in other parts of the state. We are aware of the Bassett conundrum, and we're trying to look at it.
What's the highest level of care? ALS is,
It goes EMT, AEMT, intermediate, paramedic,
CC paramedic.
CC paramedic.
I understand that, but agency-wise, you refer to it as critical care ALS, CC?
No, critical care is a specific level. New York State does not recognize the specialty care transport as a level of care
Right.
at the present time.
You said if the agency wanted to drop down to ALS.
AEMT, correct. If they want to remain ALS,
Okay.
but at the
Remain ALS,
AEMT level,
okay.
they're not required to carry narcotics. And that AEMT was developed for a lot of the rural areas, which this region has a large portion of, which may be a better option for some.
And Lee noted that there were a number of agencies who had opted to do that. I don't know just what the number was, but.
I can name, there's about a dozen so far that have opted to drop down. There was 3 in the neighboring mid-state region that dropped down.
But there are still, obviously, a lot of agencies who have not made an effort here, so.
And like Chautauqua County, I'll pick on that county. They're the last county in the state before you're in Pennsylvania. There's 26 agencies that are supposed to have controlled substances by the CMAQ mandate, and they do not. So we're waiting to see what happens with them. We haven't received any paperwork from them.
Okay. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
On the Systems Committee, we had no new CONs to deal with on appeal. That was a big yay. There's an issue about updating the Bureau with point of contact people in the event of a disaster. So please take back to your counties and your agencies to prompt them to notify the Bureau of who is the person to contact with regard to, well, I know it's Maggie, but we need to make sure that's happening, because it's not happening in some places, I guess, so.
And it makes it very hard when you're in disaster mode to find the people you need to mobilize the resources you need, and that's what drove that.
Right. And then regional councils are asked to please notify the Bureau of any pending CONs, even if you get just a whiff of one at the coffee shop somewhere. They would like to know, so please keep that in mind. And regional councils may not vote on a CON without having a completed fitness and competence report. That, I think we all know that, but apparently there are some regions who don't know that. So if you vote in the affirmative and you get a negative fitness and competence report, you're kind of caught across the barrel. And there are apparently some services who have contracted with other companies to operate, and you have to notify the Bureau about that as well. It seems sort of common sense. And regional councils are also requested to please notify the Bureau of any services that may be closing, because there are a lot of legal issues that need to be untangled. You can't just close the door and walk away, as much as you might like to. So that's an important piece as well. Intermediate services, and there is attached to the operations report a list of intermediate services. And Maggie, there are only 2 in our region, and they're in your county, Treadwell and Wawina, that need to decide which way they're going to go. So you probably ought to contact them to make sure they know that.
I think they know that. I think they're waiting for the new intermediate protocols to be approved.
All right.
So they're probably going to go to BLS till that's done.
Okay. And soon, regional councils in CON proceedings will be able to use the NICECON program, which is an electronic CON application, etc., that applicants can file their application online, and it saves a lot of paperwork. So I don't know exactly when that will be operational, but it's coming. And I also attached under the Safety Committee the paper they just put out about responding to active shooter situations and violent situations. Please take that back to your services and your counties and distribute it. And there's a note in there well, actually, there's a note here about there is training available for this type of response at the News Center in Oriskany, and NAEMT also has a course available. And there was something about in disaster situations, tourniquets should be placed in with AED. So I don't know exactly what that's all about. It seems to make sense. Since tourniquets were used and sort of done on the spot with ripping up shirts, etc., at the Boston bombing a year or so ago. And that's the end of my report. I hope you found the bonus page of cartoons. And I'll take any questions. Okay.
I have one other question. The active shooter programs that are available, isn't there also something like that listed from Homeland Security? They have a course that you can attend?
Well, I think the Homeland Security piece is at the Oriskany Center.
That's the Oriskany?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's also one on FEMA.gov.
Oh, there may be,
ICS
yeah,
907.
one there too.
It only takes about 45 minutes.
Mark, is your report going to be available electronically? Can I pick it up electronically?
I'll get it to you electronically.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Great. Make sure
That's
that
the
everybody
IT
gets it.
department.
Thank
Most
you.
everybody's here, but just in case.
Action item.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
because, well, I mean, my written report is available electronically, but the rest of the stuff would have to be scanned in, so my IT assistant will.
Excellent. We all should have an IT system.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
IT system.
Okay, thank you very much. Program update. And program director,
No, nothing in the report.
other programs. Go to REMAC.
So the REMAC approved the minutes of June 19th. We approved Dr. Sosnow as medical director for Andes, Dr. Robinson as medical director for Indiana Fire Department. We approved Dr. Crosby, and what's the other position now? As an absent for GABAC. Once we see the paperwork for that. We approved the use of intranasal naloxone for Scatter Lake, Middleburg, Unadilla, and West Exeter. We recommended that AAREMS QI review any use of intranasal naloxone and can report it on the REMO reporting form and bring here if there's any concerns regarding intranasal naloxone administration generated from that. So far there have been none. And we recognize that the REMO version of the collaborative protocols was approved at CMAC with some modifications that have yet to make it to final form. And once the final form is cemented, we will review it here and seek to expeditiously approve or modify the collaborative protocol in concert with REMO. That is it.
And Gus, just to repeat, in case somebody didn't hear it, thanks to Tom, the totally updated collaborative protocols from REMO are now in my mailbox in cyberspace, waiting for me to send them out. So I'll be able to send them out either tonight or tomorrow to everybody.
A point of interest on the REMO BLS naloxone administration form. I think we need to change that it gets faxed to REMO or emailed to QI at REMO. It needs to have updated information.
Oh, I'm going to change that, yeah.
Okay.
I will change that. Sure. I'll make that form available on our website on the forms and applications page for anybody who wants to look at it.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hentner. County reports, we'll start off with Delaware.
We just finished up a critical care class. They'll be testing tonight. We have 2 EMT classes starting.
Otsego?
Otsego has 2 EMT classes, one of which has started and one of which we didn't start, and we have a critical care class on the way.
Schoharie?
Well, we've been addressing the issue of lack of volunteers and our volunteer agencies dropping calls. We formed a committee back in April. We were looking into what some of the problems are and what some of the possible solutions are. We're hoping to finalize the committee by the end of October and then go on to the next committee to implement plans. And what we found is the usual thing, just time involved, and lack of people, daytime service. Trying to come up with creative answers.
Thank you. Montgomery,
We have nothing.
nothing new? Bolton?
We have requested mutual aid plans and EMS council bylaws from all the counties in our region, as we are looking to revise our council bylaws and also our mutual aid plans. So that's in the works.
Hamilton?
My heartfelt thanks, my love, and a Adirondack light pen goes to Mary for investigating why we didn't get our money.
Hey, it only took me 3 days.
She found it somewheres in the controller's office, and we were to get an answer within 72 hours. Instead of that, we had a check.
And a check for interest.
Yeah, $26.14 interest. Yeah, so I can't say it was worth waiting for, but it was worth waiting for. We're starting a pilot program for research, the new classes we just had, and we're getting in a mode of training for fall here, so hopefully everything goes okay.
Very good. Okay.
Outside of the county, Franklin's ambulance is 60 years old this Saturday, and we're throwing a dance for him.
I saw that one on the billboard.
The actual ambulance?
How did you get that?
How did you what?
How did you get that down the wall?
No, I came through Franklin.
Oh, okay.
So
No, we're doing it for the town, saying thank you. That's the 20th. Jack's birthday's the 21st, so they're throwing a dance.
All right, great. Okay, any old business? Any new business? Before we adjourn, we have no new business. I have to tell you this story. We're using a lot of local tenants in our emergency room, and a couple months ago we had a doc. He's a big fellow from Nigeria, and they have an apartment where they stay in the village when they're not in the ER. They come up and stay in the apartment for 8 hours, and then they do a 24-hour shifts in the ER. So he stopped at the local McDonald's and went in and had breakfast. And when he came out of the McDonald's, he took his key fob and he pushed a button to unlock his car, and the lights came on and everything. So he went over and got in the car and he pushed a button and drove away. And people in McDonald's said, "Hey, the guy's taking my car." So they called the police, and the police came over to the ER looking for him and said, "No, he's probably up in his apartment." So went up to the apartment, and when they knocked on the door, he came to the door, and they said, "You know, you took the wrong car." I said, "What do you mean the wrong car?" He said, "I pushed the key fob and it unlocked it." The car he was driving was the same color, make, and model of the car that was sitting next to his. And his key fob unlocked the wrong car. Now, once you use a key fob and get in, just push the button to start it, and it takes right off. And he said to the police, he said, "I did kind of wonder where that purse came from." But he didn't notice until he got to his apartment. So they got the matter all straightened out and everything. But when he came into the ER later on, he looked at me and he said, I'll bet I'm the only ER physician you know that steals cars." So just on the lighter side, it was, you know, no one was harmed, and it was an honest mistake. But
Just say that wasn't a Toyota.
no, it was makes I think it was a Kia.
Kia?
Yeah. But anyway, it was kind of funny.
That
We have
goes,
a new business.
that goes to prove what a locksmith said to me many years ago. He said, "Phil, what one man makes, another man can unmake." Never forget that.
Okay, so the new business, but motion to adjourn. See y'all next month.
Okay, 1342, we meet on the 16th of October.